Hi, my name is Emmy, and you're listening to Are You Okay? And from the Media Factory and the south end of Burlington, Vermont, this is 99.3 WBTV LP Burlington. We're streaming online at 993wbtv.org. Hello and welcome, everyone. I am so excited for today's show. We have on the absolutely wonderful Kaylee Murray. She is a certified life coach and an all-around amazing person. She's a close friend of mine, one of my oldest friends, the oldest friend that I have, and I'm so excited to be able to play our interview on the show. Just as a little heads up, in typical Kaylee and I fashion, we jump right into it, and so you kind of get to hear the interview before the interview, so to say. Again, really excited for it. We are absolutely going to have some music on after we hear Kaylee talk. Hope everyone enjoys the interview. Here's Kaylee.
Yeah. Let's close our eyes. Deep breath in. And let it all out. Yeah. Oh my God. You're a homeowner. Crazy.
I know. Yeah, I'm kind of going through a transition with the house and the roommates, but I've been living alone for the last week. Kaylee.
So nice.
Oh, is it not? I have had the best time with myself. Like, it is so interesting. I'm so sensitive when it comes to like the homeostasis, like default level. And I am like, I've been sleeping amazing. I've been enjoying time with myself again, which is something I feel like I've been struggling with. And it's so interesting. And not to get too deep into it, I want to.
I'm curious.
But it's been so interesting because I kind of had this like revelation in therapy where I was really experiencing the feeling of isolation and like really toying with the feeling of loneliness, which is a really foreign it's a really foreign feeling for me. I typically feel the opposite, where I feel overwhelmed by the social situations that I like have access to, and I feel like I'm spread too thin, right?
Yes.
And like I want more alone time. And then this winter I was experiencing this like very strange bout of really feeling like lonely and isolated. And the difference, like nothing has changed other than someone not being in the presence of my home. And so it really, I had this epiphany that, oh my gosh, I think I was feeling that because I was feeling insecure about someone else thinking that I might be lonely or isolated and not actually being lonely or isolated. And like, it was actually not me feeling that way. It was me feeling like I was being perceived that way. It was such an interesting revelation because nothing has changed except for the removal of that. And it's like, oh my God, no, I love time with myself. Like I've always loved time with myself. Like I feel really whole when I get a weekend night to myself. Are you kidding me? It's like the best time.
Wow. Yeah. It's just that idea of like pressure and this external pressure that's created so often not from us.
Yeah.
It's like we've been taught that being alone is not okay. Being alone means you failed. And so we can feel that deep sense of shame for it. It's crazy.
And I think that it was like such a good learning moment for me because you could replicate that in any other area of your life. If you're not feeling successful, if you're not feeling productive, if you don't feel like, just take 1 second and think about, do you actually feel that way? Or is what you're experiencing an anxiety and a fear of other people perceiving you that way? Or are you really just noticing that you're doing something less than someone else who has a completely different life than you? Like, it's just so interesting.
It's all a perception.
100%. It's so interesting. And like, it's just so funny because, you know, no one is exempt from being perceived by other people or like the pressure of being perceived by other people. Like I like to consider myself a like, oh, I just like do what I want and like I don't care what other people. Absolutely not. Every human on this earth like does care about what other people think of them. I like was listening to something recently that's like the only people in the world who don't care about what other people think of them are sociopaths and saints.
Yes.
Like And everyone
Literally.
else in between, like that's a huge influence on us, whether or not we like it or not. I don't know.
Right.
It's interesting.
Yeah. I
Um,
could keep on going with this, but
so I'm like, we should probably focus.
I
Okay.
have so many things I want to say, but I'm trying to
I know.
think
Let's
of
let's 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 regroup here. So, Kaylee Murray, thank you so much for being on my show. This has been and like a total work in progress. We've talked about this a lot. So to have it actually happen is super, super exciting. Thank you so much for being on Are You Okay? I want you to introduce yourself and talk about who you are and what you do. But every single guest I have on the show, I always ask them first, are you okay? How are you doing? Give us a gauge.
Ooh, I love this question. Um, I always like to answer the question when someone asks me, "How are you?" with, "I am many things. Okay is one of them."
I love it.
We get to fully experience all of life, all of the joy, the pain, the fears, and that's how I'm showing up here today. So I'm
I
parts
love
of me
it.
are good, parts of me are not so good. Um, Moreover, I'm so happy to be here and grateful to
Yeah.
be here.
Yeah, I love that honest answer. So, Kaylee Murray, why don't you just start by introducing yourself? There's so many things that we want to talk about. I want to talk about our very, very special and unique relationship we have. But first, I would love for you to just introduce yourself and talk about who you are and sort of why you're here today.
Yeah. Hello everyone. My name is Kaylee Murray. I am again many things. Most currently, I am a life coach. I help people, I help facilitate a transformation for folks and step into their most fullest expressed self. I'm passionate about connecting with people, creating ideas, holding space for people, supporting others in their journey to reclaiming their sense of self, and how that is such a unique journey for each person. So yeah, I've been doing this for about 6 months. I went through a training. Life coaching is kind of one of those serendipitous things that fell into my lap. Growing up, how do I want to put this? I didn't really take school that seriously. I kind of coasted by, and I never really had that crystal clear vision like most people don't of what do I want to be when I grow up. I never had that moment. I could never picture myself like sitting at a desk job 9 to 5 or anything grandeur like that. And so after going to college, I got really interested in food and kind of thought that was going to be my route. Maybe it was opening up a restaurant, maybe some sort of connection with food, the environment, people. And so after college, a couple years, I got a little burnt out from it. And I felt this this inner nudge to be doing something more with myself. I was meant to be doing more than where I placed myself. And so, yeah, I stumbled upon the coaching world, and a week later I signed up for a training, and here we are now. It was, finding that was one of those moments where it was like, this is where I'm meant to be. And the interesting thing about finding your purpose, we might call it, is that I believe all of our purposes is just to be on the journey of life. There's no magic pill to take that's going to get you to the exact job you're supposed to be in, the exact career you're supposed to be in. Your purpose is just the journey of life, finding joy in moments, finding things that make you feel lit up and whole. And so with my journey right now, what's making me feel whole is coaching others.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about me.
Amazing. So amazing. It's funny what you say about like the purpose of life is just basically to experience. It reminds me of like the idea of meditation, where it's like we all think that meditation is like this goal to be something or to do something or to get enlightened. And like really the whole like the gimmick of meditation is that it's literally just to be. And like there is no if I do this, then I'll get this with
Yes.
meditation and with mindfulness. And it just really reminded me of like you were putting on like the macro level of life, and like also the micro level of meditation is just that.
Right.
So it's really interesting to think about. And we have so much pressure to like achieve these specific goals, not unlike the conversation you and I were just having before. And it's really refreshing to think about like we are all just trying to be at the end of the day, and that's kind of what it's about.
Yes.
So I guess briefly before we get into some questions, and really what we want to do here is talk about the work you're doing and how it really actually relates so much to kind of like the thesis of my show, I guess, and what, we really try to accomplish here on Are You Okay? And I'm excited to ask you some of those questions and get into that. But I think we'd be remiss if we didn't sort of take just a beat and talk about the relationship that you and I have, and how it is probably maybe the most unique relationship I have in my life. It's very like, I don't know how to put it, like, it's impossible for anyone to have the relationship that we do because of how long it goes back. But I guess to briefly like frame our conversation, and Kaylee and I get really deep into things and we could talk for hours, I'm sure. So I'll try to keep it sweet. But Kaylee and I grew up together in like the most intense way that you could ever describe that. So Kaylee and I have known each other like really and truly from birth. Like you were in my
birth.
life. But yes, like our moms were pregnant together, and Kaylee is like, 6 months older than me. So like she has known me for like literally my actual entire life, and vice versa. And, I've known her parents for my whole life. Your family was a ginormous part of my upbringing, and I think vice versa. And I seriously can say that I don't have any other relationship that can sort of compare to that, only because truly for as long as either you and I have been in existence, we've had each other in our lives, which is like so unique, very special, very nuanced, I think. And you and I have ebbed and flowed as we sort of should. And it's been really, really exciting for us to kind of like, it's almost like we reunited at like the perfect time in both of our lives, which is just so exciting. And
Absolutely.
And happy for you to be here.
Yes.
So I guess maybe where I want to start, what we get after, or when I bring guests onto the show, it's often to kind of talk about, I think, how people have different, like, their catharsis or ways in which we go through the world to express our feelings in ways that might not be, verbal expression or something like that. And for me, in my avenue, it's been music for a really long time, and leaning into music and listening to different types of music and writing different types of music. And I want to know a little bit about like your avenue or vehicle for your expression and your processing, and how you help others do that. Do you want to just talk a little bit about how you found that vehicle and what that looks like?
Sure. Yeah. So I love to describe self-expression like language. So there are thousands and thousands of languages out there. They all have a different tone, a different dialect. But at the end of the day, for the most part, they're all saying the same thing. And so what self-expression is all of these different avenues, all of these different throughways that will look different for one person, that will look different for you, depending on the day, depending on the mood. But all they're doing is sharing that innermost self that is you. So your innermost self is maybe your values, just your heart and who you are beyond the beliefs, the behaviors, what happened to you in this lifetime. My dad shares this story. It's called the story of the Golden Buddha, and I won't go too into it, but it's this idea that we're all born golden. We're born perfect. We come into this lifetime like that. You think about babies, like they just radiate love, and they, like children, literally wear their hearts on their sleeves. They're not afraid to be goofy and messy and, mess up. And over time, we become more and more disconnected from that sense of expression, that ability to express. This can be through moments of trauma, emotional wounds that are set up. And we don't need to be talking about like capital T trauma either. Like, I'll share like a little story that I jotted down. In third grade, I was chosen to be a giant in the school play. We can laugh about it all we want right now, but like as a child being put into a box of you are bigger than, Emmy and I were tall kids. We still like, are very tall.
Abnormally tall. That's the other thing. Like
yes.
How unique. Like we look so much alike. Like our parents used to confuse us. And Kaylee and I both happen to be very tall women and have been for our whole lives.
Yes. And like I absolutely own and love that now. But as a child, being exiled because I looked different and felt different was extremely embarrassing and extremely scary.
Yeah.
So we have just these little micro scars that build up, and because of that scarring, we shield ourselves. We cover ourselves up with masks, with beliefs that our voice isn't sacred enough to be shared. I'm too stupid to do this. All of these things that build up from maybe something really small. And so what I've kind of learned is that we get to share those parts of ourselves. We have not even the ability, but like the responsibility to. Like that's what we came into this lifetime to, I truly believe, is to express what's on our hearts and who we are, because that's how we connect to others. That's how we create. That's how we grow. All things that everyone wants. No matter what industry you're in, no matter what you're doing with your life, we want to create, we want to connect, we want to communicate, and expression is the way to doing that.
So what are some practical ways people can, I don't know if release is the right word, and you might have to help me out here and correct me, but we have these experiences that maybe happen to us, these like micro traumas, or however you want to say, all these little things that take us from like that, like you're saying, that like bright baby child energy, like happiness, wear your heart out on the sleeve, and then through life that can kind of get dimmed. Can you talk about some, like, what are some practical things that folks can do to like bring that back out, to heal those scars, to be, this sort of like elevated person that we want to be, to not be afraid, to wear heels, even though you and I are both like 5'10".
Absolutely. Yeah. So I guess the first kind of practical step is to slow down and pause. We live in a lifetime where we feel the need to go, to do. We rarely pause to check in with ourselves, to understand, okay, who am I right now and how did I get here? Like, really? And so, what's really interesting is that our brains and our whole body will not process something unless we feel safe. So we will not be able to shift something cognitively. We will not be able to heal something somatically if we literally don't feel safe to do so. And we will never feel safe when we are in that go, in that hustle mentality. So the first step is slowing down and trusting that you are safe to slow down. And then it's really uncovering your story. So really understanding, like, the big question is like, okay, who am I and how did I get here right now? Like, what beliefs do I hold about who I am, about the world? And so maybe, to get really practical, let's say someone is wanting to feel more confident at their job. Maybe they want to, have a conversation with a boss, ask for a promotion, that kind of thing. But there's that block. Something's stopping them from being able to share that part of themselves. So the first step is kind of navigating, what beliefs am I holding? What are the stories that I'm creating about this? And then from the story, we can ask ourselves, okay, when was the first time I believed this? When was the first time I maybe thought I wasn't worthy to share my voice? And so that kind of brings us back and can potentially bring us back to that root. And the important part too is like, we don't need to get hung up on like finding that one moment from childhood that did it. like what's needed to come up will come up in its divine timing. And so it's tracing it back to that point. So maybe we get back to this memory of, maybe you shared something with a parent and they lashed out because they were in a really bad mood and they just like, couldn't take listening to you right now. And so that triggered something within you to be like, okay, when I speak my voice, I get yelled at, or when I speak my voice, it's not safe to. And so it's being in that state now as a wise adult, looking back on maybe that childlike self and, understanding like, okay, maybe this was the circumstance then. Is this still the case now? And we can begin to like detangle the web of beliefs that we hold, because the only thing that makes a belief true, or excuse me, the only thing that makes a thought true is one's belief in it.
Yeah.
So if we don't believe it anymore,
Sure,
we get to let that go.
Yeah. That's so interesting.
So yeah, that's like a little insight. I could go way more in, but
yeah, no, it's so helpful. The idea of like slowing down. We've talked about this a little bit, sort of like off mic, but it's the hardest thing for me to do. I am in like go mode all of the time. And I have this thing where it feels like all of my time is like really precious or like super, super finite. And I really struggle to take that time to just like breathe and slow down. And I think music has been like really helpful for me for some of that. Like sometimes it's like, oh, can I challenge myself to just sit and listen to an album, or like put a record on vinyl and not do anything else and just like listen and enjoy the music. And because so much of my life is like, I'm gonna listen to this podcast while I clean and while I do this and while I do X, Y, and Z, or like I should have music going because I need to create a set list for the show. And there's so many of these things like that make it seem like we can't do X, Y, or Z, and like really the best thing we can do. And it's so easy, but it's not, it's just to like, whoa, can we slow down and do one thing at a time? Or can we slow down and do nothing? Can we just breathe?
Yeah, we have such a skewed view of productivity.
Yeah.
Because what's going on in our minds when we're doing that is, oh, damn, I'm not being productive right now. When you look up the definition of productivity, all it is to produce something. Okay, maybe taking a nap isn't necessarily productive in the, in our modern day, but can I see that, oh, a nap is producing rest for me. A nap is producing, nourishment for my body. Flipping the way we view this idea of needing to be productive is extremely important in our overall joy for our life. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, that's such a good way to look at it. And again, so much easier said than done, It's funny how like things will continue to come back to you. Like I feel like I've been hearing this so much and it's like, oh, I'm like trying to practically apply, but yeah, it's super, super important. And I appreciate you sort of sharing some of those more practical things that we all can do to kind of get closer to where we want to be. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk with you about, I'm going to say music, but I think we can also extend it to dance, to art, to any type of sort of like physical expression that we can see. And how that plays into your work. And I'm just wondering if you can speak a little bit on like the purpose of music or the purpose of sort of like expression and creating and like, I want to say ultimately like taking in something else that other people produce for us, right? Whether it be a song or you're interpreting a dance that you're listening to, or you like see a beautiful photo and you take a second and look at it. Can you talk a little bit about what that relationship looks like?
Yeah, I think the beauty of what you're talking about, of art, music, dance, all these things, taking this in, is that it takes us beyond ourselves.
Mm.
It takes us beyond this mental bubble that we've created, that, okay, life is just from my lens. It's about me. This is my story. It takes us out of that. It takes us into this deeper connection with others, seeing others. It takes us into a deeper connection with nature. It takes us into a deeper connection with the universe. And so I think partly why it feels so good is it's releasing that hold, that like tight grasp that we create around ourselves, of just needing to create life from this one mind.
Mm.
And I think it's really refreshing in that way. You know, music can be such a portal into our innermost self, like I was sharing before, of like this idea of expression and sharing that. You know, it goes so far beyond like the mental, the textbook.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, extremely healing for people. It feels like that exhale, that sigh of relief. Yeah, and so, you know, music is that avenue, is that throughway.
Mm.
That needs no explanation either. And I think that's another piece of it. Like, words can only take us so far,
Yeah.
because it is this human egoic construct that we've created.
Yeah.
But as we know, and I might be let me know if I'm getting too esoteric.
It's getting really heady up in here.
You know, we go so far beyond the words we can use to explain ourselves.
Yeah.
And so looking, you know, you have a beautiful piece of art behind you, and it's like, I would not do it justice if I was like, oh yeah, there's some, you know, little green circles right there. I think there's a woman. And rather than just seeing it, taking it in and being present.
Yeah.
That is the gift of expressing, as well as like being the recipient of that.
Couldn't have said it better. Tell me about what music you like and what music you're listening to.
Oh my gosh, these questions are so hard for me.
Putting you right on the spot.
I know. I am across the board with music. There could be one day I'm listening to like soulful 70s, another I could be listening to like some house music. You know, I think what's important as we talk about expression is like letting ourselves off the hook to feel, to be, to do whatever we want to do in that moment. And so not putting ourselves in a box, or like, of like, I like country music, so I can only listen to country music. Or I like, you know, pop music, so why would I try to listen to that? You know, to give ourselves permission.
There's so much like people who I think I subscribed to this for too long, where it was like I'm a music person, so like I need to have this like superior taste in music, so like I'm not gonna listen to pop. And it's like, are you kidding me? Taylor Swift is so good, and like like pop songs are pop for a reason, you know? Or like I was gonna make a joke and say I don't think anyone listening to the show is a country music person, but that might not be true. Like I used to hate country because I feel like, you know, because my own stuff, basically, you know, like my preconceived notions, and like all right, I listen to some country sometimes, like it wouldn't kill me. But I love that, and I think I've done a lot of work in the last couple of years to kind of like, and again, that goes back to like our belief systems. Like, it's like, well, why did I ever feel like in the first place I needed to like convince people that I had a good taste in music or something, or like, or that pop meant that you don't have a good taste in music, or like, musical theater is like nerdy or something. It's like, no, I want to be in my car playing Hamilton, sometimes, other times I want to listen to my like sad nostalgic music I play on the show. But I like the idea of like releasing yourself from any idea of what you should be listening to or what you need to be or who you are as it relates to like what you're intaking for any, creative thing that we want to, I guess, like endeavor upon or listen to or intake,
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still working on it, but I love your perspective on that, I guess. Well, Kaylee, I want to hold any more space and time for anything else you might want to talk about, but I really want to make sure that you get a chance to kind of like plug yourself and the things that you're doing and maybe where people can find you after the show, anything that's like coming up for you, any exciting things.
Yeah. So I do want to share one more thing.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing that I think people I run into when I'm working with this idea of self-expression is trust. Trusting yourself, trusting in others who are receiving your expression, and trusting the moment, trusting the universe, and making it okay that no one's gonna fully understand you in one go. Like, people listening to this, like, yeah, they're gonna get bits and pieces of me. They'll never know the depth of who I am.
I hope not. I hope not.
I hope not.
Interview.
But like, same goes as like, listening to music. There's so much more than meets the eye of listening to a song. There's so much more than meets the eye than looking at a beautiful mural. So it's like giving yourself the permission and trust that who you are will shine through. And there's no needing to force or manipulate beyond that. And I think that's the beauty of expression.
Yeah, I love that so much.
But yeah, where you can find me, my Instagram is expressed Kaylee, Kaylee. I post some fun stuff. I host workshops, mostly in person, but have some online workshops coming up as well. I offer one-on-one life coaching. So you can find my website through my Instagram if you are interested and curious about learning more.
Amazing. Kaylee, thank you so much for being on the show. I think we did a really good job not talking for like 2 hours. I didn't know if we were going to be able to get through this like in a consistent way.
I also want to say I am an OG listener. I was like probably top 10 first listeners back in the day.
I love it.
I feel honored.
Oh my God, I love it. Thank you for supporting the show. I am so happy we got to chat. I love and appreciate you very much. And thanks so much for being on Are You Okay?
I love you so much. And thank you for having me.
Bye. All right, that was Miss Kaylee Murray on Are You Okay? We've got some music for the rest of the episode. So without further ado, here is a pick by Kaylee herself. It's a song called Be Myself, and it's by Parcels. Here on Are You Okay?
This is paralyzed. I keep throwing it down to hundred at a time. It's hard to find it when your money's gone and you're drunk as hell. On your back with the wrecks as the stacks you load. On your back with the wrecks and the stacks you load. On your back with the wrecks and the stacking you load. I've been twisting to the sun. I needed to replace. And the fountain in the front yard's rusted out. All my love was down in a frozen ground. There's a black crow sitting across from me. His wiry legs are crossed. He's dangling my keys. He even fakes a toss. Whatever could it be that has brought me to this loss? On your back with your wrecks as the stacks you load. On your back with the wrecks and the stacks you load. On your back with the wrecks and the stacking you load. This is not the sound of a new man or a crispy realization. It's the sound of the unlocking and lift away. Your love will be safe with me.
I don't know how to be what I wanted to be when I was 5. Sometimes blue eyes, sometimes Christmas lights. Sometimes freezing, sometimes warm. I don't know if I can love that anymore. 'Cause I got it all mistaken for a meaningful life and a fun family vacation. Like when I used to ride roller coasters with my dad. When a swimming pool in a hotel was a gift from God. Be. And maybe I just wanna get married, or maybe I just wanna fall asleep. But at least I know that the world is spinning when we're tangled in the bed sheets. And at least I know that my mom is breathing when we talk on the phone. If I've been in love before, and I'm pretty sure I have, then I'm pretty sure that my house could burn down to the ground tomorrow. If I've been in love before, and I know that I have, then I know that my house could burn down to the ground tomorrow.
You just heard Vacation by Florist, and now here is one of my favorite Shaky Grave songs of all times. This is a live version of Daisy Chains.
Okay. If you can't bind my hands, oh, in wedding bands, yeah, well, I'll daisy chain my life away, my Lord. Yeah, well, I'll daisy chain my life away, my Lord. Well, I wish I had a place, oh, to stay, my Lord. I wish I had place, or to stay. Yeah, but no home inside. Yeah, that banner's fly, oh, of scarlet, white, and blue. Well, my brothers and me, yeah, we'll hang from our family tree. Where's the boys who fought and died for you, my Lord? Yeah, all the boys who fought and died all for you, my Lord. Just like screaming into the storm, my Lord. Just like screaming into that old storm. Yeah, sure, I say find my bones and mail them home. You know I miss my whole family. Yeah, well, a bullet straight, oh, and my soul flew away. And it sank right to the ocean's floor, my Lord. Yeah, well, it sank right to the ocean's floor, my Lord. Oh, well, it daisy changed my life no more, my Lord. Yeah, well, I'll daisy chain my life no more.
Very lovely morning. Don't try to kill yourself today. Think of all that you've been missing. Prescription made. Painkillers. Count your blessings early. For the lotto hit the gate. Winning's for the lucky. Living just takes painkillers. Living just comes with a bit of heartache. Heartache comes with a bit of young faith. Faith stay young, do you get your heart broken? Hope grows up to become someday. I never hurt no one and no one ever hurt me. I believe, I believe, I believe. Faith played dumb to the dots I leave. I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe. Man, I won't fight to the people I speak. I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe. Can it ain't fight for the souls who body their pain for sweet relief. My queen don't feed on milk and honey. She's impartial to the summer sun. She's a lone fire burning in the sand. In a cold, lonely night without one. She cuts her pistols before she pops her collar. Oh, she's our belief for putting off their laser gun. She she rips the halo. Sounds of angels for the fun of it. If all she does is smile at you, run. What do you need these for? Around here the cries die young. Fly, mama, fly to where you come. Speak, mama. Round here the quiet die young. Very lovely morning. Don't try to kill yourself today. Think of all that you've been missing, and don't you ever pay mind to that line in your head that says you ruin it. You'll ruin it for everybody, won't you? Today, think of all that you've been missing. Prescription made painkillers.
You just heard another live version of a song called Painkillers by Rainbow Kitten Surprise. I have one more song for all of you. Thank you so much for listening to the episode. I think at this point you know where you can find us. We're at Are You Okay Radio on Instagram and Are You Okay Radio on YouTube to catch any episodes you might have missed during the live show. I hope everyone has a safe and happy Thursday. Another special thanks to Kaylee Murray for joining us on the show today. And a song to close out the show is going to be a song called Sorry for Dying, and it's by Quatica. Have a good night.
About it, it's all in my head. Fuel tank blink, it's been running in the red. Praying for a green light, looking straight ahead. Nothing else seems right, you know what I said. Tell myself to calm down, listen, understand. Somewhere I got stuck, a bitch in my hand. Everything I want was never in the plans. And now it's hard to think. I've been running in and out of dreams, repeat. And everything you ever say, you see in me. So I'm not a ghost. Catching those ones I used to call home. Left my body lying on the doormat. Turn away the sun and not to go back. but